Yeah, hi Mitali. Can you let me know if my web voice is okay?
Hi, Pranti.
Am I audible properly?
Yes, you're audible.
Thanks.
Hello, everyone. A very good afternoon. Am I audible, Prantik?
Yes,
Yes,
yeah.
Ekta, sure.
So, hello, everyone. We'll be starting in next 3 to 4 minutes, just waiting for the audience to join in. Thank you for your patience, everyone. Hi, everyone. Prantik, am I audible?
Yeah, Ekta.
Thank you. Thank you. So, hello all. A very good afternoon. Myself, Ekta, and on behalf of my partner, Brennan Ozontel, we welcome you all on a webinar, which is Acing Omnichannel Lead Generation, how NBFCs can build a high converting sales funnel. So, thank you all for joining today's session, and we wanted to make interesting and engaging with your questions. There would be a Q&A where the panel can put their questions to the panel speakers, and the questions would be encouraged on the chat box from where we can take it up. So let me start by introducing our partner, Ozontel, very quickly. Ozontel is an industry leader within the customer experience space, offering business a robust omni-channel platform to manage end-to-end communication flows. The platform helps enterprise to engage with customers at every touch points across voice, chat, SMS, WhatsApp, and digital channels. It fully integrates with CRM and other business applications and offers a truly omni-channel experience for customers. And now, I would like to introduce our moderator, Mr. Prantik Goswami, Manager Account-Based Marketing from Ozontel Communication, to take this over from here. Thank you all the panelists for your time.
Thank you, Ekta,
Over
for
to
the.
you, Prantik.
Thanks, Ekta. I hope I'm audible, and thank you, Ekta, again, once again, and the Brainflix team for organizing this, and thanks for a lovely introduction. Welcome, everyone. I would love to welcome our panelists and also the audience to this discussion where we will discuss today on acing omnichannel lead generation and how we can build a high converting sales funnel. Today, we'll try to discover and learn strategies to effectively capture leads for various digital channels while optimizing conversion points in your sales funnel. We have industry leaders from leading NBFCs in India, and we would love to hear their thoughts on the challenges, the roadmap, the view on technology, the view on automation in automating this entire lead gen process and how they have been doing this. But before we begin, I'd like the panelists to introduce themselves, a quick introduction about what they do, how many years of experience in the industry. So, Jagjit, we want to start first, being from Ozontel as a host, and then we can take it to the guest.
Yeah, thank you, Pratnik. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for your time. My name is Jagjit. I manage the enterprise business for Ozontel, and I have been into the customer service space for the last 22 years and have worked with different organizations which look into the customer enhancement or customer satisfaction. Yeah.
Thanks, Jagjit. Madhavan, you're on mute.
Yeah, hi everybody, good afternoon. My name is Madhavan. I'm actually working in a slightly different domain, but nevertheless, I'm into the economics research. So I'm currently Group Chief Economist with Manappuram Finance. As you all know, we deal with gold loans and to a certain extent with other products like home loans and microfinance also. I've been with the group for the past 1 year. Before that, I was with various other companies like Aditya Birla Group. I also had some stint with public sector banks like Bank of India, Union Bank of India, and in between a very small stint with the Times of India Group as well. Most of these have been into financial sector research, into risk management, treasury, planning, strategy. So that's in a nutshell about me.
Very glad to have you here with us, Madhavan. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
joining. Dominic.
Good evening. Hi, everyone. My name is Dominic. I'm the Senior Vice President and Chief Technology Officer for a housing finance company by name Art Housing Finance, based out of Gurgaon. And we are in the industry from the last 8-9 years. We serve the affordable segment, where solutions like Omnichannel plays a very important role to especially collect the leads, because in affordable segment, it's very difficult getting leads. That's one thing. And I come with 24 years of experience. I come with multiple domain experience, right from I started my career with hospitality, the Oberoi groups, then later moved on to the revolution of aviation, worked with Captain Gopinath's team, that is a decade, then Kingfisher, then finally into the financial domain. I think that's the one what is taking me. I'm in the finance industry from last 8 years. We've been working. We are a digitally driven company, one of the digital driven housing finance company, and We do a lot of, I mean, the complete process, the complete customer acquisition up to disbursement, we are the digital run. And like, affordable segment is always a challenging segment where getting leads and all those things is always a challenge. But we are doing good, very competitive, digitally driven, and a very good team I have. And technology wise, we are in a very good in adoption mode, and we have everything has been adopted. So this is about myself and my company. And,
Great that it's also great to listen that you are already adopting the omnichannel channel as a form of lead generation, and we're very excited to hear your insights today. Lastly, Puneet, thanks for joining and a short introduction.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Hi, my name is Puneet Taneja. I am managing the
Some problem with the internet, I think.
digital initiatives at Hero Housing Finance. It's based out. Okay. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
is
yeah.
it better?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is better now.
Yeah. So I head digital at Hero Housing Finance. Prior to this, I was working as a senior vice president at IndusInd Bank, taking care of all the digital channels and initiatives over there. Before that, I was working for ICICI Bank, looking after their tech vertical. Prior to that, I earlier started my career with Infosys, went on to do my MBA in working industry. I have a total of 18 years of work ex, primarily into digital and tech verticals.
Thanks. I think some really great mixed balance of experience professionals that we have, and across industries. We have some from housing finance. We have one of general NBFC2 here, and we have Jagjit from Ozontel to share his side from the technology side. So I think let's begin this discussion, and I also request the audience to keep sharing their questions whenever they have any questions related to the topic. We may take it in between, or we'll take it towards the end when we have some time for the Q&A. So in this dynamic digital landscape, NBFCs face a lot of challenges in generating high quality leads and converting them into valuable customers. And to successfully navigate these challenges, I think now the point is that it's essential that all NBFCs adopt an omnichannel approach to lead gen. And to construct a sales funnel to nurture these leads, constant nurturing is required. And a question to all the panelists is, what specific challenges and opportunities do you see in the context of omnichannel lead generation for your respective sectors within the NBFC? By respective sectors, I mean we have someone from housing finance, we have someone from the gold loan business. And how do your sector's unique dynamics influence the approach of building a high converting sales funnel? Dominic, would you like to take this first?
So I think thanks for this question. It's a little bit a challenging question. Okay, but even then, as I said, we are from the affordable segment, and we serve the tier 3 and tier 4 cities, and we come with multi-language kind of conversions. So very frankly speaking, we started off with 70% of our normal leads come from the DSAs. Initially it was, just to give you a history of that, initially we used to take the DSA was our core, this one where manually the files were given, the contacts were given to us, and our sales team used to go there and start doing it. But gradually in the time of, this started giving us a lot of issues where leads were getting leaked out. Conversion ratio was very less. We find, because normally what happens in the sales team, 1 month he's here, the next month he's not here. So the lead just carries off with it. So there is no accountability on the leads, whether the lead is a hot lead, cold lead, or is it converted into a login, or it is in the sanction, what stage, nobody knows about it. So there we had issues where we were working on it. And second thing is the kind of customers we serve. We cannot enable them with the digital channels when I look at it 3-4 years back. Like, you talk about WhatsApp, you talk about asking them to log on to my website and apply online, or call up my contact center, give a missed call, and all those things. It was a challenge. But what we did, we said, see, till somebody takes a puts the foot down and say, yes, we need to introduce it, and people start adopting it. Yes, initially we had problem, but gradually. So what the first challenge, first thing what we did was see that the DSAs presently, the quite a huge amount of DSAs we have, where technically develop a solution for them so that all the leads they punch in directly flows into the companies like us. And again, we have the DSA's got his own preference, the kind of login, the kind of disbursement, the kind of payout we give, he starts giving the leads to us. So that's where we found, where our login, for example, if I give a figure of a thing, if I'm doing a login of 1,000, Okay, I should at least have 5 to 6 times of that leads getting generated. Okay, where there was a huge gap between these two. That's where we said, we need to automate the complete digital, the DSA workflow and the leads capturing and all that. That's why we did it's more of an in-house development work we did, and we integrated with our core system. So the lead directly, so we were able to convert almost 30% of the leads which are getting leaked. That was a good thing for us. And, it all happened during COVID and pre-COVID, because during the COVID time, we had sufficient time to, there was nothing happening. So it's a good way to work on it. So we started working on that. And that's where we found our thing. Then we built a very good, we had an in-house call center, but later we moved our contact center onto the cloud. And there we started, off late, we picked up a capture CRM, where it's a omnichannel channel solution, where right from my customer can approach me via WhatsApp or any social media handles, or even he calls up on my call center number, it gets generated as a ticket. So whether it's a new inquiry, whether it's a customer service, I'm able to get the customer online, and conversion ratio is coming up there. And I could see there are a lot of changes happening, and adoption, the technology adoption by the tier 3 and tier 4 cities. Because when you look at tier 3 and tier 4 cities, internet was always a challenge those days. But today, the maximum 80% of e-commerce is utilized, used at these 3 cities. That's where we said, why don't we bring in that technology? Today, my customer, we are trying to work on the multiple languages, for example, Gujarati, Marathi, and all that. Presently, we have only English and Hindi, but even Hindi we get it. But to be more personalized, we are working on these solutions, which will help us to generate more leads. And this, see, whatever you do, end of the day, there's always a leakage of leads. Some DSAs may not prefer having a technology, because that's a cost to me and cost to the DSA also. So this always be that 20 to 30% of leakage will always be there. But I see there is a huge change that the way the sales funnel flows in to my regional team, the sales team, and the way it is getting converted. And, you find quality portfolios coming up together. So that's where we see that, technology has really helped us, especially the omni-channel technology, whether it is WhatsApp or your text or SMS or your contact center solution or your DSA channel. And I find online is also gradually picking up these days. On the website, I find a lot of leads coming into me from different places, though we don't operate from those places. So some of the leads are getting converted. Out of 100, I think around 20 to 30% gets converted for us. That's more than enough, because one is lead conversion, login. Later, the sanction and disbursement is subject to the credit policies what we have. So that's how we are doing. So there's a revolution change which is happening there, affordable segment, especially when it comes to omni-channel integration. Initially, it was multi-channel. You'll find multiple people talking, multiple things. You don't have the data. You find data going everywhere, and that. So that's where this omni-channel has helped us at. And I see as a CTO, for me, how best I can stop the leakage of my leads, how best I can convert and make my sales team to generate more revenue, more business to me. That's where I play a role. That's where I play, and it's been successful for us. As on today, we are doing good, but we have a lot more technology to be built, which is we are looking at and exploring that also.
Thanks, Dominic. That was a very detailed question, and I see that you are really in a very advanced stage in the omnichannel adoption, and it has worked wonders for you. I think you mentioned 30% lead conversion rate has improved, and which is, I think, a very good number to start the discussion with. And I would love to hear from Puneet about his thoughts on the same.
Hi, thanks, Tanit. So I come from affordable housing segment, similar to Dominic. So see, I believe irrespective of the industry you operate in, the underlying principles remain the same. You will have a CRM to manage your existing customers, irrespective of the channels they are coming from. And then you will have a lead management system to cater to all your prospects or people who are not your customers yet. So irrespective of the channels they come from, if they come from a mobile or a web portals or a WhatsApp or a missed call, like Dominic mentioned, eventually all of them converge into a lead management system. You run analytics on top of it. You try to acquire the customers through multiple channels and eventually push them into the CRM. Now, in our case, like Dominic mentioned, we are into affordable housing segment. Now, it is actually a not very lightweight product like a personal loan. It is, we deal with home loans and loan against properties. Now, it's a high asset product. The ticket size is pretty huge in terms of the industry we operate in. Yes, it is an affordable housing segment. So the ticket size is relatively lower compared to some of our peers, but it is still a home loan you're talking about. So the entire process, right from sourcing to underwriting to operations, when we are looking at the lead management, right, irrespective of the channels I launch, whether it's a mobile or a web, what we have seen is human touch is required. With specifically looking at the customer segment we cater to, I can launch a lot of technology offerings, but the customer segment we cater to, they prefer a person assisting them in completing those journeys. So assisted journeys become a key. Launching a DIY journey today is possible because of plethora of technology options available to us. However, it is very important to see what does my customer want. They are available in the remote parts of the country, trying to get a loan for a property which cannot be funded very easily. They expect a person to come to them, whether it's a digital journey or it's a physical paper-based process. However, the human touch has to get involved. And then once the documents have been collected, the backend process, the underwriting process, the ops process, all of that can be digitized. So honestly, we have not seen a lot of positives coming out of the lead acquisitions coming from digital channels. We are working on it. There are many new initiatives we are launching in terms of onboarding the connectors digitally, onboarding the customers digitally. But it is going to be an assisted journey. It could be, when I say assisted, the people could be from my organization, the people could be the partners, but there will be someone who will be assisting the customers when we are acquiring those customers. Because these are not the customers who are buying apartments in high-rise societies in tier 1 cities, right? So these people need some guidance, which is where I feel when I am getting leads from the digital channels, the human touch is very, very important, at least in my vertical. Thank you.
Thanks, Punita. And we totally agree that there has to be a right mix of technology along with the human touch. And that's why we're trying to find the balance of what's the mix of automation that we need to adopt and what's the mix of human touch that we need to go ahead in this process. And obviously, home loans are a very personal buying experience because they would want to know what they're purchasing. They would want to probably negotiate with you. They want the trust factor to come in. And that's, the trust factor is something which a human touch can provide us. Madhavan, your thoughts on the same?
Yes. In fact, I come from a different sector compared to what has been told by our previous speakers, Vijay and Puneet. Yeah, basically, we are into gold loan sector. Of course, now talking about my company, we have diversified of late. It's 50%, 55% gold, and the rest is the other business. But nevertheless, a majority of the business comes from gold. But so I will speak from that context. In fact, you all would appreciate that speaking about the gold segment, it has never been really an issue about getting leads because India has a very strong psychological affinity towards gold. So let me put it in terms of numbers. Even now, when the country and the financial sector is getting fairly organized, so of course, we are not saying that it is 100% organized. There is still a lot of segment which is unorganized. But even now, to that extent, around 6 lakh crore of worth of gold loans are there in the market for the entire players put together. And that again comes to only 10% of the entire market. It means around 90% of the sector, especially in this industry, is still in the unorganized sector. So in that context and in that perspective, getting leads, getting customers to flock towards this segment and people who are active players in this segment is not a very difficult task. In fact, all of you would know that people who have been in the gold loan segment, like our company or Muthoot and all, we have been pioneers in this segment and we have tasted a lot of success in this particular segment for the past so many years. And now, having said that, seeing the success rate of the established players, banking sector, banking players and other NBFCs have also started jumping into the bandwagon. So in this context, getting leads means keeping intact our ability to win more customers. And here, a very unique metric, which is very important, is the turnaround time. So while we said that all other players are also slowly becoming active in this segment by luring customers with different and varied rate of interest, it still remains a very attractive sector from the point of view of how we are able to entice the customers to our fold. And one way to do this is to have your point of presence in those areas which are still belonging to the bottom of the pyramid. Let's say typically this kind of products are demanded by people who need an emergency funding for a short period of time. Typically, if they go to a particular bank branch, for instance, it means they would have to lose a single day salary. They have to go to some far off places, go there and transact and come back. So it means typically losing one day's wage also. But in our case, people like us who are established players, we have presence in critical locations, which will help them to come to a place of their choice, which is very easily accessible, and they'll be able to get a loan, a gold loan, for instance, not only at a low turnaround time, but it's also hassle-free in the sense they are able to get it at a place and location which is very convenient to them. So these are the certain tricks or techniques which we are still at the forefront compared to other players. Of course, there is a digital channel also. Talking about our company, we had introduced this product called online gold loans quite some time back. And if you look at the scale at which it has gone up and the way it has gained traction, that is also parallelly giving a good result. Fairly a major chunk of the gold loan which we are acquiring as of now is coming from the online gold loan channel. So I would say the strategy to ensure that we are getting consistent lead is see the behavior pattern of customer, market gold not just as a distress product, but also as a lifestyle product, because if you see in the case of India, we have a lot of affinity towards gold because we have a psychological attraction towards it. Just to say one example of why it is so, even after we have increased the gold import duties continuously for quite some amount of time, if you look at the data, we will find that there has not been much volatility in the quantum of gold which we have imported. So we should utilize these factors, the continuous and sticky affinity towards gold, and ensure that the turnaround times are very low, continue to give good service. And we have a unique advantage here because unlike other banks, public sector banks, etc., which cater to different products, and they have the branch staff who are dealing with different products. They don't have a certain set of people who are specialized in gold loan alone. On the other hand, we have people who are sitting out there who are specialized only in this particular product, and we are specialized in this particular product for decades. This advantage we still retain. And by word of mouth, the hassle-free nature of the product and the quick turnaround time and very fast service compared to other players, that will spread very fast. And this is a very critical and unique manner in which we could harness the customers and customer acquisition. Of course, having said that, we are not saying this competition is not there. It is there because almost all the players have entered into this bandwagon of late. Nevertheless, we still retain this competitive edge, not just leveraging digital or the online gold loans, but also using data analytics, artificial intelligence, having point of presence in key and strategic locations, ensuring quick turnaround time. So all these factors go together. So this is my take.
Thanks, Madhavan. And we totally agree that the lowering turnaround time, which leads to the faster you reach out to a lead, leads to a definitely higher conversion. And that is something of a key metric in a lot of industries, especially in the BFSI and NBFC. So with that in mind, we'd like to hear from Jagjit. So Jagjit, can you share some specific examples of your experiences of NBFCs who have transitioned to Ozontel for the communication requirement, particularly in the context of enhancing their omnichannel lead generation efforts?
Sure, Prathnik. I heard the panelist and it was very insightful. Dominic, as he rightly mentioned, I mean, with the help of technology, how he is able to serve the customer. See, at the end of the day, all of us wants to have the happy customers, right? And how do we get those happy customers? If we have employees who are serving them, they are happy, they are well versed with knowledge, they have a clear knowledge and understanding of what exactly the customers are requiring, and they are able to satisfy the customer needs. That is when we get the happy customers, right? And that is what we have been doing with our we have been partnering with a few of the NBFCs. Just let me state one of the examples out over here. One of the largest NBFCs that we are serving currently, with our solution, we are partnering with them. So we have been offering them, so they wanted to retain their numbers and their telecom side of the business, right? But they wanted to ensure that the services, the customer centricity or the customer handling piece was taken care of by us, by Ozontel. So we ensured that we tightly integrated our telephony systems with their databases, with their CRMs and the databases, so that it was tightly integrated, and the decisions which are made were informed, right? When an agent or an employee used to call up to their customers, right, they were well informed that what exactly is required, and there is a lot of amount of AI that is built into that kind of a solution. Moreover, we gave them the flexibility of not getting onto their desk, so their agents or the employees who are serving the end customers, they can, irrespective, they can take their calls from their mobiles, they can take their calls from anywhere with with an informed kind of a decision. So this gave them an edge over, I mean, rather than just getting into from one particular location. So this built in a very good use case out over there, which was able to translate into a productivity of their current agents. And moreover, to add to this, just like Puneet rightly mentioned, right, they wanted to have a human touch, right? Where all of us are like, India is more to be a dominating a voice market, right? So to have that kind of a voice touch, I mean, we made sure that we gave them a relationship kind of an concept, right? So if I am serving, but I as an employee am serving particular end customers, say I'm serving 10 customers, right? When I call up the customers, I am aware that these are my relationship managers kind of a concept. So those kind of scenarios were built, and we were able to provide a very robust kind of a solution to our end customers. And just to add one more thing, see, at the end of the day, I mean, we are the technology providers, right? And we need to ensure that organizations like you concentrate on your own business, and we ensure that we give you a seamless kind of an experience for your customer care unit. So that is where, I mean, say today you have a requirement to increase or decrease the number of agents, so we do it over the fly. So in the time of pandemic, when the requirement for that customer was like, increase my capacity, so it was within a fraction of hours that we increase those capacities for them. So that is a small summary of what we have been doing for different other NBFCs or in the particular segment, right?
Thank you, Jagjit. Next question is to Puneet. I think, Puneet, as a head of digital transformation at Hero Finance, you have witnessed the company's increased adoption of automation and technology, but this is in line to what you have earlier mentioned about the human touch. So how do you determine is the threshold of automation which is good enough, considering the customer's needs for personalized interactions and human touch points in the housing finance journey? And I think it's in line with what you started in the initial discussion. So what do you think is the right threshold of automation that is required?
Thank you, Prantik.
Yeah.
So today we know technology can do everything, right? I mean, there are tons of APIs available, whether we want to authenticate the customer, whether we want to run our underwriting process. I mean, tech can do everything. You know, within my team at least, I mean, there is something, a principle that we follow. Don't do it just because technology allows you to do it. Because today, I have tons of APIs available for KYC. I can authenticate a customer. There are Aadhaar APIs available. There are PAN APIs available. If he is carrying documents, I can do an OCR. If he is not carrying documents, I can do a verification check through these government entities via a middleware. If none of them are available, I can always do a DigiLocker. But essentially, we need to make sure that this automation or technology or digital, whatever we want to call it, is actually making life convenient for the customer. It is not really complicating it. So 10 years ago, we used to talk about an enterprise architecture, right? Today, I think with the new generation coming up, the focus is on the experience architecture. So technology is great, but I think what's more important is the customers and the customer experience. Am I actually adding value to what I am trying to do? Picking up from what Dominic and I were talking earlier, we are in an affordable housing segment. There is a specific customer segment, specific properties I cater to. So do I need a DIY journey? If I build it by spending lakhs of rupees, do I expect customers to turn up? Like I said, my customers are not buying, apartments in high-rise societies. So if I do an assisted journey, what level of complexities do I want to introduce there? For all you know, customers more often than not prefer a Xerox of their Aadhaar and PAN. They want the person to come to him, help him with the complete onboarding process. So we will have DigiLocker, we'll have CKYC, we'll have all the bank statement analysis and financial statement analysis. I'm sure we have heard of account aggregator, but there is still a fair segment of customers who prefer going through a conventional vanilla route. I have to embrace technology because I cannot be left behind. There will always be customers who will be demanding the latest, the bells and whistles, so to speak. So I have to do it. And as we move forward, I would expect customers will embrace technology. At the same time, I have a BAU to run. So it becomes very, very critical that whatever I'm building, I call it building blocks, right? Whatever I'm building, they are adding on to my current BAU process. So right now we are just revamping our LOS. It is a guiding principle that we go with. And there will be multiple swim lanes that we want to define, right? There will be multiple flow back reasons we want to define, but it is going, whatever I build, it should help my sales team on the ground. It should help my underwriting people. It should eventually help my customers. I just take one small example because this is something when you talk about automation, it just brings me back to one of my earlier streams where I was handling a mobile banking app for a private sector bank. And it was a feature-rich app. It had everything. You ask for any feature, it was available. Every 3 months, we were rolling out a new release, and there were new features. However, the ratings were pretty average on Google and iOS-based stores. We were actually wondering, compared to our peers, where are we going wrong? Because we have all the features, right? But then we realized, why do customers come on the app? Yes, I have a feature for change of email ID or change of address or apply for a social security scheme. But 95% of the times, customers come to me. When they come to me, they expect to be able to log in on the app seamlessly. They expect to be able to, they want to book an FD. They want to initiate a fund transfer using NEFT, IMPS or RTGS or UPI. They want to download a statement. It's very, very important whenever they are coming on my channel, it should be a seamless architecture, So we had one sprint for 6 months only to fix all the performance issues. 99.9% of the time, every time the customer is coming onto my platform, he should get the right experience. Features can wait, but performance becomes the key. So to answer your question, when you talk about automation, Prantik, it's very, very important the kind of customer base we are leading to and what kind of technology we want to enable. So just one last thing. How often do we apply for a home loan? Once, twice, thrice a lifetime, right? When customers are coming to me, I better serve him well. It is a journey which will last a week or 10 days. I can reduce it to maybe 5 days, but the entire loan process, the underwriting process, the operations process will take 4 or 5 days. So it is okay if I compromise a bit on my tech, but I need to focus on the experience. That's my take on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Benny. That was really a great answer on the importance of the human touch and personalizing your customers. My next question is something we have discussed earlier, and this is to Dominic. And Dominic, you mentioned that your customers are from tier 3, tier 4 cities across India, and since they are from the affordable segment, and you also cater to various different language barriers that you have. So, and India is a linguistically, culturally diverse country. It's a challenge for all industries, especially in the NBFC, to navigate these communicative barriers that we have and find the right balance of experience. So what specific challenge have you found to be the most effective in generating quality leads? Keeping in mind these cultural barriers that you have and what you have implemented, you mentioned that you have support and processes in multiple languages. So what's your take on this?
Like, since it's a we work with different languages, basically when you look at the kind of customers I work with, to literally people who don't know English. One, they speak in their mother tongue, or they speak in the Hindi. There are the two things. So like as Puneet was saying that, we have branches everywhere. We have branches. We do give a human touch, and our process is like this. Once the lead gets generated via, as I said, DSA through the technology channel, where normally what we're given to them, this lead is given to the concerned sales team, and this guy goes to the customer's house and starts onboarding the customer. Okay, so when he goes to the customer, there the language barrier doesn't come into picture. Okay, he talks to the customer in their own language, and we make it a point that when we are recruiting people, for example, we recruit people in Haryana, we see that guy, that he knows the geography very well, he knows the people very well, he knows the pulse of the human being, the behavior pattern, all that. We get people from there. We don't put a guy who's sitting in Delhi to go and work in Haryana. So there, what happens, that the language barrier tries to bring down, and the personal touch is maintained. You sit in the customer's place, you start digitally onboarding the customer, you do a KYC process there, then you do an account aggregator. So all this gives a customer. Yes, we do have some customers who are a little bit like in accepting by chance. I'll give a very simple example. Customer doesn't want to share the OTP. Recently, I had an issue where one of our customers from Rajasthan didn't want to share an OTP. He said, why should I share my OTP? You guys will swindle my money off. Okay, you talk to your company and take the OTP and come. So there are certain set of people who are there. But today I see many of the people who are the first-time home buyers. When you look at the first-time home buyers, because you talk about an Ola driver, or you talk about a person who's owning a Kirana shop. Now, if he's a first-time home buyer, he surely likes to get things done in a faster way. When you look at the kind of competition we have, especially in the affordable segment, see, onboarding is the process where we digitally drive it. And then the second thing is that the leads which were getting lost through the DSA, we are using technology to drive the leads. And as I said, on the website also the leads are coming in. We are working on one more thing where even my website will start working on the multi-language kind of thing. For example, you choose Haryana, you choose Rajasthan, wherever it gives you that thing. And there the apply online form which we are going to capture. There I find people can log in. I mean, they can still apply for a role. And we are still further doing it like, we have launched an app called Smart App for every customer. They can download, they can apply through that also coming out. So that language barrier, we are trying to break that jinx, because normally people, and I'll give one more example. When my customer calls up on my contact center, they don't talk to you in English. Blindly they talk to you on their language only, and my agent who's sitting there, or my IVR should be in a position of understanding and responding to it. So this is something which this language barrier will always be there, but we are trying to overcome it by getting talking to the customer. See, any customer today, especially in the affordable segment, though I agree with Puneet, though we have technology built everywhere, that personal touch, what you do when you have an issue, or when you want a loan, when you walk into my branch, the confidence level comes up. Technology cannot build a confidence here. So we have set up branches everywhere. We still have a customer walking into my branch. There are walk-ins happening. So we have built a Omnichannel channel where my customer can reach me from multiple things, giving them an access in a different languages where he's comfortable in writing to us and even talking to us. And at the same time, we have a manpower also, which is very, very locally available to us, so that he is in sync with the customer in the same language, and as he can understand our body language. So that way we have built a solution. That's a process what we are following. But as I say, this always will be a challenge. The 20% will always be a challenge for us, but 80% we see that things are coming. And as the years go, next 2 to 3 years, you find there will be major revamp, because today the way the government of India is selling up, you're talking about the affordable segment, PMAY is still not closed, and subsidies coming in for your affordable companies, you tend to go into the deeper market. And it not only housing finance, even MSME kind of lending, which will hit the market. Today, though I'm out of the topic, I'm telling you today, MSME loan is driven to end-to-end technology. A small factory worker just have to log on to the site, apply, give his basic documentation. Next 3-4 hours, he's got an in-principle approval. I'll give you an example. We have developed an in-principle approval using technology for a affordable segment customer, especially for a self-employed customer. He can log on to my website. He can apply there within, I think, 10-15 minutes. You get an kind of in-principle approval, giving a customer saying that yes, his loan is approved subject to this thing. Then we have built an BRE engine which gives a customer a more confidence. 20 to 72 hours we give a sanction, pre-sanction subject to the terms and condition. And obviously in home loan, I agree with Puneet, as you were saying, the process is lengthier because the registry papers, loan against property papers, technical valuation, legal valuation. So that process will all be the only thing that which is taken longer time, their technology is played away. So customer is very well aware using the technology. He is very well aware where his file is set, irrespective of the customer it is. So there where my what do you call it? One is the language thing, another one keeping the customer updated due technology, because you can keep calling the customer and telling them everything. I'll give you another example. When you talk about the customers in collections, we never speak about collection. Collections is something which is very, very important for an organization for us, especially if my DPD is there, if my say more than 60 days, or I think it's more than 90 days, if I don't declare, I declare the customer's NPA. That's a mandatory rule by RBI. There we have set up a technology where you have robocalling coming up, automated SMS going. Then we are giving an online links to the customers on the WhatsApp, on the SMS, so that he can pay online. So when I see my payment online from my customers, I've seen a huge change. Nobody wants to give a cash. Everyone wants to make the payment online. I've seen, I think there's an improvement of a 20 to 30% improvement I've seen in the online payment. That means irrespective of the language, irrespective of the creed, culture, language, or anything for the matter, customers adopting the technology, and we are going forward. In that way, we see there is a huge revolution which is going to happen, which has already happened, is going to happen in future also, to keep the affordable segment more floaty. And today, affordable segment is not only the Ola driver or Kirana shopper. Today, the first-time buyer whose salary is around 60,000-70,000 rupees. I have an example. My team member, who's a system administrator with me, he picked up a house from using our company loan policies, where he's taken a house. He's around 50 to 60,000 rupees a month, he says. So now I can't say he's taken a loan, he's bought a house in affordable segment. He's not something like, he's an educated guy, postgraduate, he knows to speak English, he knows to speak multiple languages. So it is just a thought that, but we see that the majority of the customers are real homely by giving an in-person thing. At the same time, they're just using the technology for them to ease the process and make them, more comfortable.
Thanks, Dominic. I think one thing about collection is we totally agree, and I think we have been doing it for our customers too, wherein we are using robo IVRs to remind them about collections, and we have discussed this in a separate IVR too, and we'll probably. Jagjit, I think you have been listening, and based on your experience, I want to know what are the key drivers which, when you talk to an NBC, behind them looking for an omnichannel presence, like what are the key drivers for them?
So just to answer this, I think Dominic was apt on whatever Dominic was talking about the technology, how they have been, interacting with their customers. So what we have been also doing is we have been doing the same thing, irrespective of whatever channels the customers are interacting with us. We are mapping the journey of the customer as well. Right, so that say tomorrow when the customer calls me for something, my employees who are interacting with me, they are well versed with why the customer is calling me. It gives it enhances the customer experience. It gets a wow factor, right? Say today my money gets debited because of something, I will pick up a call and I immediately call up the contact center, right? But when I call the contact center, and if that particular agent is aware that I've gone through this journey, and he tries to tell me that, sir, please hold on, we are looking into it, please be rest assured that your money is going nowhere, it gives me a different kind of an approach altogether, right? So that is when that happens when we track the entire journey of the customer, different touch points, how the customer has been interacting with the organizations. That is where the omni-channel plays a very important role altogether, and more to do with the technology trends that we all talked about. I think Dominic is on a very right track. Dominic, just to add up to what you have been doing, primarily there are certain solutions where, even without human interacting, we get to know what the customers and the employees are talking, right? There can be n number of businesses which will be hidden out over there. There can be escalations, right? There can be, I mean, for just to give you an example, let's talk about a collection process that you talked about, right? You talked about a collection process where, I mean, if I as an organization know about what the agents, my employees who are doing, I mean, who are doing more collections are able to do differently, vis-a-vis the others are not able to do, without even deploying the man force, automating things, right? Through a speech analytic engine, that will help you to gain more momentum, right? Altogether. So that is the next layer of the solutions that we talk about in terms of the contacts over and above the contact centers. So that is also what we have been doing for our customers.
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jagdeep. So my next question is to Madhavan. So we discussed a fair bit of this in the first initial discussion, where you talked about the channels for lead generation, and you talked about how you have deployed an offline model wherein your customer can reach out to you and the turnaround of time. But we also want to understand, I mean, what can be the omni-channel lead gen strategy look like going ahead now that there are so many competitors coming into the industry, and how can you ensure that in a highly competitive industry the conversion improves, and how can you optimize it for a unified customer journey?
So coming into our industry, of course, adding to what the previous speakers and all have said, one of the major factors is to, let's say I'm talking about the major products like gold loans, for instance. One of the major areas to focus is to ensure that these kinds of products should not be marketed as a distressed product. Now, let's talk about gold loan. Usually the general perception is that it's a distressed product. It is something which people use only the time of emergency. It comes handy when you are in dire need of funds. But it is also good if we drive home the message that it is not just a distressed product. This is what I was harping on in the initial round. It's also a lifestyle product because it's embedded very closely with the general lifestyle of the entire population, whether it is middle class, lower middle class, or even to the upper strata. And now we should also understand that this particular product gels very well with some other products also. Like, let's say you want to take a home loan, but because of your LTV constraint, or because somebody else, the bank or the NBFC is not willing to give you the full extent of whatever you need, you can make good that shortfall which is there with the help of a gold loan. So this is another way by which these kinds of products can be marketed. It has multifaceted use. One is, of course, as a product which gives you money at a very fast pace, which is very liquid, which is a win-win for both the institution and the customers. But at the same time, it's also a filler, because whenever other type of loan products are not sufficient for you to generate enough liquidity, these kinds of products can come in very handy. So it's all about how you are able to market, how you are able to sensitize and make the customers quite aware of your own products. And for that, the people who are in the front line, they have not just to be educated themselves, they also have to take a very good ownership of the product. Now, it's also imperative that whoever is in these kinds of industries, be it gold loans or be it home loans or be it SME lending or any other kind of products, it's very important for the institution and the employees to give value-added service. So when you say value-added service, it means to educate and sensitize the customers how it is useful in different dimensions. Now, let's say we talk about one particular. Let's talk about gold loan itself. Let's talk about. But when we are enticing a customer to take a gold loan, it is important, very imperative that we educate them more and more about gold as an asset class itself. So we can very easily tell them that, look, over the past 10 or 20 years, if you had been investing in gold, you would have earned a return which is higher than inflation. You would have handsomely beat inflation by at least 1 to 1.5 percentage points. Maybe you would not have beat equity as an asset class, but if you had kept gold as an asset class, the amount of volatility which would have been there, it would have been lower than what would have been there in equity. Of course, it's not to say that gold is not volatile, but it would have been lower than what would have been there had you been holding in equity. Though it would not have beat the returns you would have got from equity for holding that asset class for a long period of time. So what I want to say is that we should also educate our customers about the value additions or the, 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 the importance of a particular product, in what way it can help them. And they should be aware of the multiple dimensions of that particular product. What are the various channels through which it can be availed? What are the advantages of using digital channels? What are the disadvantages of using digital channels also? What are the advantages of using physical channels? What are the disadvantages of using physical channels also? Sometimes, as rightly mentioned, human touch will become more important, especially when you deal with the people who are at the bottom of the pyramid, people who are still yet to come to the organized fold, or people who are very new to the organized fold, because the NBFCs cater to many segments who are vastly outside the organized sector. So it's all about how you are able to convince them, how you are able to educate them about the various products you are offering, how a particular product can be a supplement and complement to other similar products also. So it's all a combination of all these factors which will help in effective lead generation. That's what I feel.
Totally agree. And I think WhatsApp as a channel is being effectively used to educate, to share more inputs. I have seen new age fintech companies totally adopting WhatsApp to talk about equity class or different class of assets and where they should invest. They would share inputs on WhatsApp, like what would the returns had you got invested in this certain class of asset versus this, and it's totally aligns with what you are saying. I mean, Jagjit, any additional thoughts on this? Like, what can you explain how exactly Omnichannel CCAS can help NBFCs in this, probably in?
Yeah, just to give you a small use case, I mean, we are talking about different channels, right? So today, if you see, the adoption of WhatsApp is increasingly. I mean, everybody is like interacting more on WhatsApp. As a channel, the adoption has been tremendous. So what we are trying to do with one of the NBFCs is integrating the similar channel of WhatsApp along with their contact center piece. So just to give you a use case where the agent is when while agent is talking to the customer, and the customer assures that I'm going to make a payment, and he wants to have some kind of an proof where he can use a WhatsApp to send the same thing to the same WhatsApp number. The same contact center number becomes the WhatsApp number, where the agent can send him the note and can send him the link, and the customer can make a payment there itself. So it's all about, depending on the use case, how we are able to help the organizations and make life simpler for the end user. So,
Thanks.
yeah.
So now we have had a very great discussion, and I would like to ask the closing question. And we talked about the importance of human touch. We talked about the importance of having automation, the difference between different classes of assets. Also, when we reach out to an affordable customer versus a high-end customer, the communication differs. And also we talked about turnaround times. But what are the essential matrices and analytics that NBFCs should monitor to evaluate the success of the lead gen efforts? In other words, what key indicators would provide valuable insights to them into the performance of the lead gen teams? Dominic?
Okay, so when you look at how does the analytics, the data from analytics, what we do, the leads, what we catch, I concentrate, focus more on the leads. It's because the topic is more related to the omni-channel and thing. My only thing is, like, whatever the leads we capture, that has to be properly there. That becomes my core database. That's a core data warehouse that you can say, from these leads, when you start doing your cross-selling and upselling of the products, and it's not that, get a lead, it gets rejected, and just like that. So when you, like, we did an activity 3-4 months back, and we pulled out some 2-3-year-old data where there are rejected cases. cases were rejected on various parameters, at different level. I mean, these leads were coming through the digital channel. So we were able to convert at least 20% of those leads, because you see that there's a growth in the customer at this point. So analytics plays a very important role. And these data, what you're going to store, that's going to be a data warehouse going forward. If you had to diversify your business, or if you had to start expanding your business in a different geography, and it is not only the branches what you're going to open. Using this data, you can do multiple things. So analytics plays a very important role, especially whenever you capture any leads, whether it's a rejected lead, part or cold lead, any data getting captured today. But data is a main oil here. Without that, you cannot run a business. Today morning, every day morning, if you don't see an MIS, your day is not done. You don't know what's happening in your system. You don't know what's your sales, what's your login, what's your disbursement, what's your sanction, and all that. So how does it happen? It all comes from your data. So any data, even a piece of thing, if a customer hits your website, one page hit on the website is also a data for me, because that, I don't know, after 6 days or 7 days, I may convert that into a partial lead where I can later, after 1 month, I can convert. So any data coming onto my multiple digital channels, or whichever channel, whether it can be physical, better thing, it has to be stored and kept, and it has to be, capturing the data is one thing, structuring the data and analyzing the data and using that data for generating more business is very, very important. That's where we are focusing on that. And we see that, we don't, because affordable segment is a very big segment and the data size is too big, which is not even structured properly, which actually requires hard work to put things in place. So analytics, data, and all that, are a very core requirement for any business to run, for that matter.
Totally agree. And we've been also effective nurturing campaigns, series of periodic communications, even though that plays.
Then it's become which I'll tell you very one thing. It's become one of the compliance regulatory requirement. Today, if I reject a case, I need to send a communication to my customer within 45 days, 60 days. Why did I reject your case? It is mandatory. That's where your data comes into it. These rejected cases can be converted. And when it comes to marketing, we do a lot of like campaigning. We do soft, hard campaigning, and we have shops. Stalls put at all this Saturday markets. So that because the kind of customers that we get from there, brochures, flyers are being given to. We get a lot of leads coming into, but many leads are not getting to that level of conversion. But this is also a kind of hybrid channel which we do, and that data is also captured and kept for our further reference.
Thanks, Dominic. Madhavan, your thoughts on the essential metrics and analytics that NBFCs should monitor?
Yeah. So one of the major metrics which can be used is the incremental customer acquisition per employee. Like now, I'm sure that we all have data which can capture how much customers we have acquired in one particular financial year, or one particular quarter, or for that matter, any particular time period. And we know we have data on how many people are there in a particular branch, or the brick and mortar branch, or digital branch, or whatever. So one good way is to say what is the lead, what is the customer acquisition per employee. Just numerator will be the incremental customer acquisition, and the denominator will be number of employees. And you can supplement that with the other metric, which is not fully foolproof, but nevertheless, it is a good indicator, which is the business per employee. It means it's a total assets under management as a proportion of number of employees, which gives an indication of which is basically an indicator of the productivity of the institution as a whole. These are two good metrics which I feel, and then of course we can also measure the customer churn per branch, which means the number of customers which have been acquired in one particular time period, and how many people have gone out of your branch or the entity as a whole for that particular time period. So these three metrics will give a fairly good idea of how you have been faring in terms of the metric customer acquisition, and this should be monitored. In fact, nowadays we can have daily data also. If the IT systems or the MIS and data mining is very robust, this can be part of business reviews and quarterly or monthly meetings. Can be shared. This MIS can be shared with the entire top management, and these three metrics would be a very good indicator taken together.
Thanks, Madhavan. Jagjit, lastly, your thoughts? I think Punit's left here to leave early. So
Yeah, so I mean, technology is always there to support the organizations to make life simpler for the customers and the organizations, right? Uh, I totally agree with Mr. Madhavan on certain segments how they need to be sure about it. The processes has to be defined and how technology can support them. It has to be a catalyst rather than, I mean, just because at the end of the day, it has to be a win-win for the customers as well as for the organizations, right? And technology is here to support them. It should make life simpler for the organizations as well as for the customers.
thanks. I see we don't have any questions. I'd like to ask the audience once again, if you have any questions, this is the time to ask it, or we can close the session here today. Just wait for a minute and see if there's one question which was, I think, answered by Mr. Dominic. No, I think I see. We don't have any questions. So thank you, gentlemen. It was a great discussion, and it was a wide discussion where we not only talked about technology, we also talked about hybrid models, we talked about offline models and what works. I think it's a thing like horses for courses, and what can work best for one industry might not work for other industries depending on the asset class. But one thing for sure is there is a need for some omni-channel communication in all industries. For example, Mr. Dominic's organization has been effectively using it, but when we talk about educating the customer, I think there's a lot of scope about using these new edge tools like WhatsApp. It can be IVRs. In fact, tier 2, tier 3 cities, a language-based IVR process is very effective in letting them know about new products, letting them know about new processes. And I think Ozontel being in the communication fund, we are here to help you. And if you have any queries, do reach out to us. We love to connect with you, and please post us your questions on. I think I'll share my email ID here, and Jagjit, if you can also share your email ID to the audience so that they can, if they have any questions, they can reach out to you. But thank you, Mr. Madhavan. Thank you, Mr. Dominic, for your time and for your insights today. Mr. Puneet had to leave early, and we'd like to thank him online for his inputs today. And thank you for the audience for staying with us till this hour. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.